Welcome to the MTR Network. We are back for another Super Tuesday recap, and this time we are bringing you a double dose of Supergirl as well as the brand new show Black Lightning. I am Shanna. I am your host here along with the Doctor.
Hola.
And we're going to start out talking about the mid-season premiere of Supergirl, Legion of Superheroes. What did you think of the episode?
Oh, I liked it. It was a good comeback after the break. It had its cheesy parts. It was a little super cheesy, like when they put the rings on and posed with the rings.
Okay, so this is what I'm realizing about Supergirl. They have decided to lean into the cheese. They are leaning hard into the cheese.
I'm like, what are we doing?
But here's the thing. I kind of love it. Because I feel like if you're gonna go there and be cheesy, and I think the moment when I knew that they were like fully leaning into the cheese was during the Crisis on Earth X thing, where they had that like random out of nowhere montage of like everybody like pulling on their super suit.
Yes.
Like it was like we went like as if we don't all know they're superheroes. They were like, we're gonna show you a montage of everybody putting on their super suits. And so like I was just like, oh, so we just decided that this is what we're doing now. We're like full cheesy. And Supergirl has like they've decided that's the way they're gonna go. And I'm okay with it. I am surprisingly okay with it. Because usually that would turn me off. But I'm like, no, they got this. I also really liked the episode. I think my one real big issue, CW wig department. What's up with the CW wig department?
They should have just made Brainiac bald.
So the actor playing Brainiac is Jesse Rath. He was also on Defiance. He was
in a U.S. version of Being Human.
Yes. But Defiance I'm referencing because on that he also had white hair. But he did not look like this. Like I don't know if Defiance's wig budget was bigger. I don't know what. But
all I know is that this episode of Supergirl, I don't know if they spent all their money in that rain fight sequence because the special effects and CGI was a little sketched.
I could not with that hair. He was looking like, I think somebody said he looked like Doc from Back to the Future. Had they...
You know what they should have did? They should have borrowed James Marsters from Runaways because he played Brainiac in Smallville and brought him over and let him do a real quick cameo. That's what they should have did.
Look, at the very least, can we just slick his hair back? Like, why was it sticking out all over the place? Like, nobody had just, like, some pomade on the set. Like, why is his hair sticking up all over the place? He didn't deserve that. I think they took Oliver's flashback wig and just put white powder in it.
Wow.
Like, they didn't have to do my man like that. So, we both enjoyed the episode. Let's kind of get into the overall storyline. Do you want to start with Jimmy and Lena?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get that out the way. That was a damn kiss. That's how a kiss is supposed to go. That's how the chemistry is supposed to feel. You do that every time, Supergirl. Every time.
I like it. You know that I'm here for it. So I'm here for the Jimmy Lena stuff. I'm not gonna act like I'm not here for it. What I will say is I couldn't tell if Jimmy was being, like, because he was being evasive, but I couldn't tell if he was being evasive because he was also trying to keep the fact that Carr was in a coma secret. It just felt weird out of nowhere that he, like, because it's obvious to me that he likes Lena, so it just felt weird that he was getting all, like,
goofy
around her. Yeah. I was like, that didn't feel Jimmy to me. Like it didn't feel James to me. Like so that just felt weird. So I get where then she felt weird and started reading into it. I really feel like it was all just to push us towards that scene of John pretending to be Kara. Which
I love it when they do that because Melissa does such a damn good job.
But also I know it's just Melissa pretending to be David, but I don't know if she studies David or what. I felt the John exasperation coming off of her. Even though it's Melissa, I truly felt it was John being like, I do not want to talk to you people about your personal relationships. This is really frustrating. And even the way she put on the glasses, and she was just kind of like, oh, yes, you and James. Melissa has really been acting her behind off this season. I feel like she does not get enough credit for the acting job that she does because she's amazing. So that was a great scene. I was kind of surprised at how well Kara took it. The Jimmy Lena thing.
That what?
How well Kara took it.
Well, she said when she was talking to Alex that she's like, it hurts, but I'm grown. I got to get over this.
Yeah.
I don't know that she took it like a grown up.
Well, in that respect, though, I thought she was more referring to Monel, not Jimmy and Lena.
Right. The way they wrote it, she had already passed on Jimmy 2 seasons ago. So, like when we started season 2, it was basically like fuck Jimmy.
Yeah.
So it didn't shock me.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe
it feels like Jimmy always cared more than she did. The way they wrote it after it moved to the CW.
Yeah, that is true because in first season it did feel very one-sided from her side, and then season 2 it felt more one-sided from his side. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Maybe it's just just me over here being the only one shipping those two still. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being alone. I just letting you know. I will continue to hold the torch over here by myself. I like how you're just being quiet. Okay.
Yep.
This is why. See, I don't get no support. I think this is it. I'm quitting this network. Yeah, I like the kiss. I think they have great chemistry. I can't wait to see more. Now, the rest of the episode. The opening scene of Rain and her daughter.
Oh, yeah, it was clear that was a size. I'm sorry.
Really? Because for me, I was like... Because the way it ended at the mid-season finale, it seemed like she was going to hurt that child. Am I the only one who remembers how it ended?
No, I remember how it ended, and it did seem like she was going to hurt the child, but we don't see what happened in that aftermath.
Yeah. So when they opened up with her looking like she was stalking her, that's when I got oh my God, is she about to kill the baby?
Well, here's where they messed up. When Ruby came around the one corner, you could see the top of her Nerf gun.
Oh, okay. You were over here playing Sherlock Holmes. All right. So now that makes sense. I know. I was sitting there oh my God, she's gonna hurt the baby. So I actually really like that reintroduction to those characters. And to kind of find out that she has been, my question is, how much does Samantha remember when she's not Rain?
She doesn't remember any of it.
Yeah.
Her eyes flashed red when she saw that one news report, and she just kind of zoned out. She wasn't her anymore.
But I'm wondering how often can that happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm guessing we'll see that.
Because you're losing. I'm thinking, because you would think she's losing time.
Exactly. You know, like, what does she think is happening when she doesn't remember where she's been or what she's done? Because even it was kind of, they wrote in this excuse for why she could be Rain for a while. Her kid was going to sleep over at a friend's house for the weekend or whatever. But I'm like, that can't happen all the time. Like, where does she think she is when she's off being Rain? So that'll be interesting.
And can we talk about her mission? So she's, she was talking about, there's the voiceover, it's the time to deliver the awakening, and those who would do evil in the open. To those who would do evil in the open without shame, I have to force their gaze back to the life and show them true justice. Can we talk about the fact that first, I died laughing. She attacked the meth lab, and then when the cops showed up, she attacked them. And all I could think was like, that is a meta narrative about the state of police operations in this country.
Which,
all the bad people, which includes the police.
We're gonna get into that even more with Black Lightning, because I caught that message on Black Lightning as well. But yeah, it's interesting to me that she's like, so I am the true justice. And her true justice is basically just knocking niggas out. And she's like, I'm going to take out the people who stand against true justice. I'm like, but isn't Supergirl also trying to get
well, according to Chad Lowe, no. According to her, she turned away from the light, so Rain has to reign, and then Supergirl can come back later. And then this old snitch-ass, whiny-ass, traitorous-ass bastard shows up at the end like, I'm with you. Like, you just stay trying to be on what you think is the winning team. Oh, mealy mouth, milk toast, commitment. No, sorry, I'm sorry.
But this is, again, his motivation is so weird as well, because his original motivation was, Supergirl has come to save us, and it wasn't Supergirl has come to save us from other people. It's Supergirl has come to save us from all things, because his thing was the plane. It wasn't, he doesn't have Batman's tragic story. It wasn't people gunned down his family in Crime Alley. So this commitment to getting justice feels very weird coming from him.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's not so much justice for him, but Rain says later, I've come to cleanse the sins of this world. So that's the religious piece that he connects to.
Mm-hmm. But I guess for me, I was just kind of like, well, before your whole thing was Supergirl is our, savior. I see her as a god. And now you're about cleansing sins. Like, Supergirl was never about that. Nothing that Supergirl was about cleansing sins or anything like that. So, yeah, it just feels like he's kind of traded one very extreme religious view for another extreme religious view.
And can we talk about the fact that I freaked out? I'm like, boo, why are you breaking into the prison? Ain't they where you want them to be, kind of, sort of?
Exactly. So that's my thing. I'm like, is prison is not good enough? Like, no, these motherfuckers got to die.
Mr. Guard, sir, why are we letting the convicts loose?
Yes.
Did you notice that? I'm like, what you expect them to do? They ain't got no weapons. What are you doing?
her methods perplex me. And then the mother figure person,
the
Guardian.
The caption titled her Dark Kryptonian. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Can we get a sister name? Something.
Yeah, it feels like she's supposed to be a counterpoint to
Allura.
Mm-hmm. And I think
except she seems more sentient than Allura.
Exactly. She seems more sentient, and she seems like there is a plan. Whereas like Allura is just like, I just want you to be happy and live your life and be great. And she seems to have a very specific plan that we don't know exactly what the plan is. And then also is like, because there are other world killers, like, is this an Earth thing? Did they just send out a bunch of world killers to different planets?
Well, it's been a minute since I read the book, but there are 5 of them total. Mm-hmm. And so, in the Supergirl New 52, they all arrive at the same time. It's possible that they did get seeded to other worlds. Oh God, it's been so long and I've been doing a lot, so I forget. I'm blanking.
Yeah. I'm just...
The way I like Pokemon, give me all of them, except do them right. Because I was really hoping when they injected Rain with the kryptonite, she'd go into a chrysalis and come out looking the way she's supposed to. It's like, oh, well, no such luck. Because it's not the aesthetics, it's just body paint and a wig. Come on, y'all.
But did we not start this episode talking about someone that they put in body paint and a wig?
Oh yeah, never mind. Let's leave it alone.
It's like, I'm not saying, but I'm saying that is not their strong suit. Like, let them cook with their little face mask and her high pony.
So. Well, the high pony is accurate. It's just supposed to be red.
Yes, they could do that. Just do like a little streak of that hair coloring that you put in your hair on Halloween. Just do like one streak of that. That'd be fine. I'd take that. Wouldn't that
real
be?
Quick, can we let's rewind to Lena for just a second. Is it me or is Katie McGrath pregnant and they're trying to mask it? I thought I saw a baby bump when she was holding that file when she was first with Jimmy.
Okay, I don't know if she's pregnant, but I did. Thank you for bringing that up. I did want to say I don't think she's pregnant because I feel like the outfit they put on her was super fitted, and usually she doesn't wear outfits that fitted. They're definitely sexing Lena up though. I was like, why are we in the office in a cocktail dress with the girls out? Like, I was like, the girls are sitting high and tight. Was
Kreisberg still on the set when this was filmed? What were we doing?
You can't see my face right now, but my face is that gif of that black guy going, mm-hmm. Just pointing that out. Yeah. So I was very surprised at how sexy she looked. That's not the Lena I know. At least not at the office. I feel like Lena's usually very professional. I did really, really like how they had her hair down and straightened, though.
Yeah,
I really liked
beautiful.
That. And
speaking of outfits, when they try to set that ambush at the bank when Alex got her leg broken 50 million places, and those 2 dudes jumped from the balcony. Did you notice what the one was wearing?
No.
He had a button-up shirt, slacks, and a leather, like brown leather jacket. I'm like, you came into a tactical situation dressed like that?
He thought he was Han Solo. He just saw Last Jedi. He just saw Force Awakens.
Where's your vest, sir? Like, people were not dressed appropriately for this episode.
So that moment in particular was hilarious because when I saw, because this is like before they revealed themselves, I was like, why would anybody be robbing anything in this city knowing that Rain is on the loose? So when they revealed that it was actually a setup to get her there, you know how sometimes you're just like, really, this is really bad writing, and then immediately they like flip it on you, and I was just like, good job, Supergirl, because like 2 seconds before I was about to be like, why the hell is anybody robbing anything in this city? I still don't understand why when Supergirl's around anybody is robbing anything in the city, because hello, superhero lives in the town. Why are you robbing banks? But especially when the like murderous dark version of that person is around. Like, I like criminal regular people, I'm locking myself in the house. I'm not doing anything. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. But that was actually pretty cool. I like that that setup for Rain. I'm still trying to figure out, and maybe you know more about this, why she's so much more powerful than Kara and immune to stuff.
Because she's a science experiment.
True. You're right.
She's not. Well, she's flesh and blood because they created her that way, but she's technically not flesh and blood.
Okay.
Not humanoid.
All right. I get it. So they try and do that. Alex gets her leg all kinds of broken. And then
they keep asking oh God, Imra
and Mon-El. So Imra apparently from the comics is Saturn Girl.
Okay.
I don't know too much about her character. But that's her character in the comics. Because I was like, have we figured out who she was? They haven't really. I guess until this episode, I thought she was human. Like, no. I didn't think she had powers.
But yeah, they kept trying to get them to help, but it turns out that they came back to get DNA, to get information about a planet that was later destroyed, and it's coded on their DNA, and it's the only way to save their future. So if something happens to them, their future is lost. Which I get, like, although you got Brainiac, do we need to put that shit in our DNA? What are we doing? But
well,
I guess that's a way to go.
I get the idea is that you want it to be separate. You don't want all the information to be in one place.
Yeah. So
I got that.
Imra, through the power of Bon Jovi, convinces him to help. I'm like, I like Bon Jovi. Don't get me wrong.
I don't like this idea. First of all, how Mon-El was on Earth for what? 6 months? Between like the time like his pod landed and then he had to leave forever. He wasn't even here a full year. But Mon-El in the future is teaching everybody about Earth's history. That part of the story, I was like, I don't buy this.
The writing, the continuity pieces, they're a little. No, they're a lot shaky.
Yeah. Like, I bought them not wanting to jump in and help because they had, like, to me, that reason was legitimate. But I was like, Mon-El was the one who taught you guys all about history. The same Mon-El who probably spent the first 2 or so months after he got out of that pod just trying to hook up with random women.
Yeah.
I doubt he was going home and reading history books.
Right. And this is the part I kind of want to scan right over, was that fight sequence, because like I said, the effects and the wire work were a bit shabby.
I guess we'll go through it when we talk about Kara. But
I was going to say, did you put the whole budget on the Crisis on Earth X? What happened? Did the Sonic Clap take all your money? What happened?
I liked the containment ball of ice thing she put around him. I like that part. What else did I like? I liked the moment when they first showed up with like the ship behind them. Mm-hmm. I thought that was just a cool establishing shot. I'm trying to remember. I also watched this like 2 nights ago. And I liked when Kara showed up.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. It was just a nice superhero moment when she showed up. So let's talk about Kara.
I liked the first part of the story the best, actually. I really did. The whole idea that she couldn't wake up because she wasn't for this entire season. She hadn't really reconciled who she is as Kara Zor-El with Kara Danvers. Mm-hmm. And she had to reconcile and kind of blend those two identities back together in order to really be whole. The writing for that I really liked.
I like that. I also wish they had. She says that she's not afraid, but I feel like there is some fear there of facing Rain again. So I wish that there had been like maybe a little bit more of that as well.
Actually, I'm glad they didn't go that route because that was the easy route. Mm-hmm. That was the easy answer for why she wouldn't wake up. I like the idea that it made for this narrative, the fear was there, sure, but that wasn't the big block. The big block mm-hmm. was she was trying to basically kill a part of her identity that was crucial to her being a whole human, a whole entity. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually kind of glad they didn't go the fear route in terms of why she couldn't wake up. They can address it while she's awake.
Yeah. So I guess more, no, I didn't break up. I stopped. I'm wondering if it's going to come back in the sense of, I feel like she woke up and there was just like this urgency and this bravado of like, I have to go do this. I'm wondering if that fear will become something that comes up in a later episode. Because I think even if Rain just shows up again, this is a really hard enemy for Kara with similar powers, but is stronger, has beaten her once. It's very rare that she is beaten. So I do want them to talk a little bit about, I think it would be natural that Kara would have some fear about facing her and how to do it, you know? And she's not going to be able to rely on, because they have a very real reality about why they can't just jump in and help her. Like, they jumped in because she was incapacitated and there was no one else to do it. But they can't just be jumping in to help, because if something happens to one of them, they have real stakes as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was nice. We got a little bootleg Legion of Superheroes. I enjoyed the comedy between her and Brainiac in her dreamscape, and the idea that he is in her dreamscape but then also doing stuff in the real world at the same time, that he can process all of those different things at the same time, and also that he made himself taller. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was very good with that except for his hair. I just really could not get past that. Anything else about Kara's dream world?
No, that's good.
Yeah. So, if your grade for this Supergirl episode?
I'm sorry, I had to check on something. Can you ask me that last part again?
Your grade for this Supergirl episode?
A B. I gave it a B.
I'm going to give it a B+, just because I felt all of the elements came together, and I feel like it's the leaning into the cheese. I just feel like they're hitting their stride. They know what their story is. Some inconsistencies. I do not trust Mon-El to be the keeper of Earth's history. But other than that, I feel like they're hitting their stride story-wise, and they know where they're going. And it doesn't feel like, I don't know if you've seen The Flash this week, but sometimes I feel like The Flash doesn't know how to prioritize right. So they fly through certain elements of the story and then draw out other elements. So sometimes I feel like they don't know how to balance things. And I think Supergirl actually does a better job of that. Knowing what arcs to draw out and what to kind of move through. So that's just my opinion. So you ready?
Let's talk about why folks is really.
I know. Like, we know why you're here. We know. We know why you're here. This show.
That show was tense as hell.
I mean, just all of the elements. All of that. So, Black Lightning.
I was tense the entire hour. I was stressed the entire hour. And you laughed at me for saying it, but I'm going to say it again. I was like, they not supposed to hoe out these babies. We got to save the babies. We got all these beautiful black people. Black people. Black people.
I mean, okay. So we got to just start from the beginning. You knew it was on when the episode opened with Strange Fruit.
Yes.
I was like, oh, we're starting with Strange Fruit. We're starting with a song about lynching. Okay. Just set the tone.
The unlawful stop. Because he fits the profile.
So it opens with Strange Fruit playing, and then this news report about these riots that are happening. These protests. Well, I'm going to say protests, not riots. Obviously, the news is categorizing it differently. These protests that are happening, and it is the community, as so often happens and rarely gets any news coverage, the community is protesting against the gang violence. And those protests have gotten violent, with the gang members retaliating against the protesters. And then it cuts to Jefferson, and it's being narrated by the younger daughter, played by China. And they're in the police department, where you see the posters, which I was like, this man, apparently, they say he hasn't been blacklighting for 9 years, but they still got his poster hanging up in the office, like, if anybody has information on the whereabouts of this man. I'm like, really? Y'all can't let my man live? It's been nearly a decade. And then the older daughter, Anissa, comes out of lockup. She was at the protest. And dad is angry. So he's angry at her for getting caught up in this protest. And then they are driving to this event. They have a fundraising event for the school that he's principal at that night. They're driving. He gets pulled over for driving while black. So it flips from protesters, gangs, riots, black on black crime, immediately to police brutality.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful writing. Amazing writing. Because I think that was one of the initial quibbles that people had with the show. I remember when they were promoting the show and they were talking about it, they talked about the fact that they were like, yes, we're going to talk about police brutality and all those kinds of stuff. But, you know, we're also going to talk about what happens within the community in terms of gang violence and black on black crime. And because there's been this whole thing in the news of whenever you talk about police brutality, white folks immediately want to talk about black on black crime. Well, like, what do you expect police to do when you're killing each other? Da, 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 da. So I know when they said that, initially a lot of people were like, oh, this is just going to be like some show where they're, you know, it's going to be all about like respectability and da da da, because he's a principal, and so it's going to be all about respectability politics. No. They immediately flipped it back to like, and the cops ain't shit either. And they pulled that black man out in the rain. It was not okay. Go ahead. Say that again?
No, that whole... Let's keep going because I'm going to get mad. Let's keep going.
So they pull him out of the car for driving while black. He fit the description of it. What was so messed up is they pull him out of the car. They show him to this Asian woman who's sitting in the back of the cop car. And they're like, is this the guy? And she's like, no. And then he won't even tell him what they pulled him over for. And it was just interesting watching this as well, because I don't know if you saw, I posted something on my Facebook page this week. This guy in Oakland who's lives in the community, was just out running his errands, was in his neighborhood library that he goes to all the time. Cops came in, arrested him. Nobody backed him up. Nobody came out of the library. Like, they walked him out of the library in handcuffs. None of the librarians came out to even record or witness or whatever. And the only reason that they had to let him go is because he had receipts from the errands that he was running to show that he was somewhere else. And they told him he fit the description. The description was black man in a plaid shirt. I was like, that is ridiculous. And this is a guy who, he goes to that library all the time. He lives in that neighborhood, is walking around all the time. Like, people know him. So watching the scene was just, it was too close to real life right now.
Yeah, that's why I was stressed. I mean, it was good, but I was stressed the entire episode. They can't do this shit every week, is all I'm saying. They came out the box swinging, which I appreciate, but they can't do this every week. I won't make it.
No.
I won't make it.
No. And it was great too, because he is in a suit. This man is in a suit. Like, seriously, he is in a suit. And you are over here talking about pulling this man out of his car. I love the girl's reaction. Because
I'm like, y'all gonna get y'all daddy shot. Can y'all listen, please?
But what I appreciated was the younger girl, for all of her talk and making fun of her sister, calling her Harriet and all that. She had the same reaction.
Yeah.
When those cops pulled up, she was like, "Oh no, y'all not fitting to do this to my dad." So I loved it. It was just, this shit was so black. So they get to the fundraiser, and I like how they set up your introduction to the girls. The younger girl is still in high school, so they're giving this speech and they're talking about Jefferson as the principal of this school and how he's turned the school around in the 7 years he's been principal. But then they also mention his daughter, so that's how you find out about them. So the older daughter is in med school and also teaches health classes at the high school. The younger daughter is still in high school and is a track star, and he's a former Olympic athlete. Like, they give you just like, I thought it was a great way to give you backstory without having to have characters have dialogue about it. But also, the younger daughter is fast as hell.
Oh, I was gonna say though, can we have Crest work on his lower body, because he got that big broad chest and them little chicken legs. It made it kind of hard to suspend my belief that he was an Olympic athlete.
But I feel like he's always had that body type though. Like, I'm thinking back to, because he's.
I'd hoped in his grown man years he would have worked on that lower, them little chicken legs. But I guess not.
Leave that man alone. He's not skipping leg day. He just can't do anything about it.
He skipped leg day.
Let him live.
No, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't kick him out the bed. I'm just saying he's skipping leg day.
I wouldn't kick him out the bed, out the shower, out the bathtub. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Thank you for whoever was writing all them scenes. Like, what was I watching? Oh, like 2 weeks ago I was watching Lucifer, and I swear to God, the writer that week was just like, we are fitting to have DB Woodside shirtless for 90% of this episode. And I was like, thank you for writing this. So you find out the younger daughter is fast as hell, because they're supposed to be at this fundraiser that they were breaking their necks to get to. And she's already in the bathroom putting on a crop top and some tight jeans and some makeup to go to a party. And the friend What was with the friend with her top all unzipped with the bra hanging half out?
I don't know.
Little fast asses. So she tells her sister she's going to a house party. Cut scene. They at a club. I literally screamed at my television. I was like, that ain't a house party. You said house party. This whole episode, I was talking. This is how you know the shit was black as hell. I was talking to the screen the whole entire time. So she's at a club. She's partying. She starts talking to this guy, Tyler. And immediately I'm like, he's a gang member. I don't know why. I was just like, I couldn't tell if she was naive or if she was trying to, you know, good girl goes bad. I was just like, girl, he's a gang member. This is obvious. And then some guys sit down at the table. This is what I do love. They're having their little cutesy conversation and she's all like, yeah, so, she's one of them alternative black girls. She's talking about Afro punk and like all this other stuff. And then these guys come and sit down at the table and she was immediately like, well, I'm gonna let you and your friends talk. She tries to get up. And they basically keep cornering her. And then they take him to Latavius. Yeah. Latavius. They take him to Latavius, who is basically the big drug dealer, the head of the gang. And Tyler owes him money, I think. And they argue. And Latavius is being all like, Tyler's all like, don't disrespect me in front of my girl. And she's like, I am not your girl. I do not want to be in this situation. She knees him in the balls, just emasculates him in front of all of his friends. But her dad shows up at the club looking for her. And that's when he gets all Black Lightning on us. How did you like the fight scene in the club?
I liked it. I enjoyed all of the Black Lightning fight scenes throughout the episode, actually. I really liked that the show kind of, like, it took you to an uncomfortable place. I'm sure there are a lot of people that were made uncomfortable by this, but it was a necessary discomfort. I like that he came for his daughters every time, and that in the end, his wife, even though she didn't want him to be Black Lightning, was like, no, you do whatever you got to do to get my babies back home. So yeah, no, I like the action throughout the episode.
Yeah. The first fight scene felt very smoke and mirrors, and, you know, he's trying to hide and everything, so I got that. I was surprised. I guess I was surprised at how everybody just immediately started shooting. I was like the lights went out and it just felt like guns started going off. I was just like, is this what happens? Is this what happens at a club populated by gang members? Like, the light go out and everybody just starts shooting guns in the darkness. But I really like the fight scene. I actually like more of the little stuff where you see his eyes turn into the lightning.
Yes.
I love those moments. Like, just great special effects. And he sells it. I always think of, like, when it comes to these superhero shows, I actually always think of Vampire Diaries. Because they say they would always tell new people when they came on the show, you have to practice your vampire face. Because they're like, it's going to feel weird the first time you do it. And you don't want the first time you do it to be in front of the camera. So you have to practice it. And so I think it must be the same thing. Like, imagine, you know, like when Keenan joined The Flash. It's like, you got to practice, like, what your fake fast run thing is going to look like. So I'm like, you have to sell it. And I'm sure it's silly the first couple times you do it. But I felt like he sold it. Every time his eyes, you know, glowed with it, like his whole expression. I thought the Crest just really sold it. So, you know, then everybody's like, Black Lightning is back. And then they introduced James Remar, who I love. Did not realize I think I didn't know he was going to be on the show because I literally did not know any of the white people who were going to be on this show.
That, and normally when James Remar is on the show, it's because he's already dead or going to die.
True. Very, very true. Like, I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, James Remar is on.
Like, we'll see him for a couple episodes. That's good. That's nice because I love his voice. It'd be nice the little bit of time we get him. I'm like, oh no, he's the Alfred to Jefferson's Black Lightning. Yes. Okay.
I love his voice. I love that man's voice.
Yeah, I told people I'm a sucker for a sexy voice, and that man has a sexy voice.
Oh my gosh, like his voice is so good. So Jefferson ends up going to him. So I don't know much about Black Lightning. They just rebooted the comic series, and I bought the first episode of that. But that doesn't really go into his origin. But his power seems to drain him in some way, or like affect him physically.
Well, it makes sense. All that lightning coursing through his body.
Yeah, he was like bleeding, and
well, in this case, he was bleeding because he got shot.
Yeah. But even in the end,
yeah,
or that one scene where that flashback scene where he's in the tub.
Well, and okay, so at the end of this episode, at first I assumed that his wound just reopened.
Oh, okay.
Because it was on the same side where he got shot.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, and I'm wondering if that's why our boy was like, "Oh no, you're not gonna put on this leather suit. I got something better for you."
Okay.
Which was the kind of suit with the alloy and the shield built in.
Yeah, because he definitely needed an upgrade. I was like, yeah, when they did that flashback, it was in the flashback when he sent him that video of the old man being like, I watch this every year on my birthday. The Black Knight saved my life. And they show that VHS. First of all, he pulled out a VHS tape, and I was like, okay, old man. And they showed like the old footage of him, and I was like, oh my gosh, he has on like the old school spandexy suit. It's so adorable. But he's trying to convince Black Lightning to come back permanently, and then they cut to his ex-wife, who we met earlier in the episode,
who is gorgeous.
So his ex-wife is played by Christine Adams, who I love. She is British in real life,
and she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 1.
She was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was also on the show that only lasted a season. I was really upset. Feed the Beast with what's his name? Ross Geller, David Schwimmer. It was a really good show. She played David Schwimmer's wife on that. But yeah, she's amazing. And I think one of my friends told me they recently ran into her at an event, and that she's super nice in real life, which is great to hear. She's absolutely gorgeous. Also, I think she's pretty tall as well. Because Cress Williams is tall, and she was almost his height in all the scenes, and I was like, she's just a beautiful, statuesque, model-looking Black woman with that beautiful short hair. So I love her, and he's trying to get his ex-wife back. Mm-hmm. He's like,
look at that, sister, wouldn't you?
I'm not mad at him. What was funny to me was the other woman. So is she the vice principal of the school?
That's why I was wondering, is she the vice principal?
Yeah, she's either the vice principal or the dean or something. So she works with him at the school, and homegirl is clearly trying to get in there.
Thirsty.
Not mad at her because, hello, she hasn't even seen him without his shirt on. But girl, tone it down. Take it down a notch. You're supposed to be professional.
You know who else needs to take it down a notch? Anissa.
Oh.
You can't be flipping gangbangers outside the damn school door. What are you doing? Look, you don't let him come at your sister, try to take your sister. I get that. You can't flip him out. He's a gangbang. What you doing, girl? What you doing? What are you doing?
I will just say, I felt like Tyler deserved it.
No, he deserved it, but not there.
Yeah.
Not there. But that's not the place and time for that kind of thing.
But I think also, because we find out that he basically had brokered a deal with like all of the gangs, that the school was a safe zone. So she probably also felt like if there was any place where she could do something like that, it was at the school.
Except by doing that, you broke the brokerage.
Yeah.
It's kind of how that.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely get the sense that both Anissa and is it Jennifer?
Jen, yeah.
That they both do come off as very untouchable and privileged in a way.
Yeah.
Like they don't quite understand. I think they both feel very above it all.
I think it goes back to what you said. They feel untouchable.
Yeah. So, yeah, Lynn and Jefferson, that's my new ship. I'm here. I ship it all aboard the SS Jefferson and Lynn. I love it. I love it.
What did you think of Latavius?
Okay.
Great value, Kofi.
Okay, so Tyler shows up at the school, acting a hot mess, and
No, stop. I'm going to stop you. I need you to answer my question.
No, because I'm going to get to it.
No, stopping you because we don't need a play-by-play. I need you to answer.
But no, because I just very quickly want to talk about how I honestly feel like this was such a textbook. This scene and the Latavius scene, both of them felt like such a textbook male aggression scenes where you have Tyler humiliated by these girls, and so he has to assert his masculinity. And then you have Latavius, which was so interesting because he starts off very like anybody, like when you see somebody who used to be an authority figure in your life. So he starts off very like nice and kind of self-deprecating or whatever. But then the moment Jefferson tries to assert authority over him, and not even really over him, just trying to get him to not be so aggressive to the little kid, he immediately flips. And it's all about, no, I'm going to show you how much of a man I am. Which is also funny to me because he prefers to be called Lala.
The irony.
I was like, I understand Latavius, not the best name, but if you like, I feel like your nickname, alter ego, gangsta name, not exactly very striking fear in the heart of men either. So it was just, to me, it was just really interesting having those two scenes back to back because they're both about asserting their masculinity. And also, I think it was great in this show because it's specifically about Black men asserting their masculinity in ways that are toxic.
Right.
And for Tyler, it just builds and builds. So, you know, first she kneed him in the balls, and then Anissa humiliates him by flipping him in front of the school. So then when I think I haven't really read other people's reactions because I try not to do that before we record. But I could see where some people would like think that it escalated too quickly. But for me, I thought it built itself really
it
well.
built so tensely, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It came out of nowhere because Jefferson just didn't understand who he was dealing with, but it didn't because we had seen the before.
Yeah.
At the
and it's also, to me, it didn't come out of nowhere because we've heard stories of the guy who was turned down and then came back with a gun and shot the girl. Or, the guy who, hit on a girl and she said no. And then, he beat her, or we've heard those stories before. So for me, it was just like, oh, of course, now he's been humiliated twice by both of these girls. Yes, he is going to show up at the school with guns and grab them and assert his masculinity. So I thought it was great. I was like, they put so much in just this first episode. I honestly don't know what the second episode is going to go to because they put so much.
Like I said, I needed to not be this tense. I was really scared. I was really scared they won't even drag out him getting his girls back. I'm like, these girls better not be in the clutches of these dudes no more than season 1. And I was so glad when we got to the hotel and Lala, even though Lala was planning to murder them, but he was only planning to murder them because it's like, dude, I can't hold them out. Do you know who they are?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't get away with that shit. Yeah. And now they know I'm involved, and now I gotta kill him, and it's all on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. He was immediately like, so
do you know who you took?
Yeah, do you know who you took? Like, you clearly, I know the importance of this, you don't, and now you put me in a position. And I think too with Jefferson, had Tyler taken the girls and Jefferson hadn't had that interaction with Lala early in the day, he probably would have just went to him. Mm-hmm. But because he had that earlier reaction and had him pull the gun on him, he's like, I can't trust that this guy has my back anymore. Mm-hmm. So, Tyler takes the girls and immediately goes to Black Lightning is back for real. Does he have a voice changer? Because his voice did sound deeper when he was in the suit.
He had a modulator that he turned on when he saw the girls.
Okay. I was surprised. I thought there was going to be a moment where they would recognize him in the suit.
It looked like they did for a second, though, didn't it?
It did. So I thought, like, one of them was going to say dad or something, or...
And I was sitting up there like, don't say dad. Don't say dad. Shh.
Yeah. So I thought we might have that moment. I definitely like the fight scene at the hotel. Him just knocking everyone out. So the hotel...
Was that one guy he pushed back in the room just a John?
That's what I was going to say. Is the hotel just the place where everybody comes to have sex with Lala's horse? Like they're running their whole operation out of the hotel.
He was the only white dude there.
And I couldn't tell, like, it was very fast and I haven't had a chance to watch the second time, but was the girl he was with black?
Yes.
See?
I think so.
This is all types of messy. So you know that Lala probably has a whole, like, stable of black women as his girls. Oh my God, this is so wrong. But it's so good. It's so good. I was surprised, but it actually worked out perfectly. The Roland Martin cameo.
Look,
on the news.
I saw that little turtle face. I was like, oh, if I had to knock down any part of the grade, it was him.
But here's the thing.
It was him.
But the reason I didn't mind it is because I loved the lines that they gave him.
Yeah. The lines that they gave him, but I hate his face.
I mean his face. but I just loved it because he asked, he's like, how come when there's white superheroes, we call white folks, we call them superheroes, but Black Lightning comes around, we call him a vigilante. I was like, Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it. Because Black Lightning is a vigilante. He's, wanted posters all up. And that was obviously alluding to the fact, because this is in the same universe as, Central City, Star City, all of that. But it's set in an actual real city, and the implication is that is very far from those other cities. So I thought that was really interesting. And then the cop, they haven't gone too much into the cop, but the reason he is at the level that he was at is because he headed up the task force against Black Lightning. But he's also like best friends with Jefferson.
Which is going to be interesting. You know what I hope they don't do is what they've been doing on The Flash, just basically telling everybody except like the postal worker that buries the Flash. I hope that they don't do that on this show. Let it just be an in-house secret with the people who need to know.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. But obviously, because of how these shows work, it's going to get to a point where he's going to have to tell the cop. Like, he's going to have someone on law enforcement on his side.
I don't mind the people that need to know.
Mm-hmm.
But like on The Flash, there's a whole shit ton of people that did not need to know Barry was the Flash and know Barry is the Flash.
Yeah.
And the people on The Flash that need to know Barry is the Flash don't know that Barry is the Flash. So I'm hoping that they don't do that here.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting because I don't think he's going to find out anytime soon. I think it is going to have to come to a head of we have to tell him. I'm going to assume it's probably going to have to do with the girls being in trouble for some reason, because that seems to be what drives Jefferson to make any decision. But
except he seems to be back in Black Lightning form because they came for his kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like because the episode ends with Anissa's powers manifesting. So
now, do we know what powers are?
I mean, we can look them up. Because both of spoiler for anybody who doesn't know this, both of the girls have powers or will have powers at some point.
So spoiler, skip ahead about, we'll say a minute. Yeah. Her alias is Thunder. Mm-hmm. Her affiliation is the Outsiders. Her alignment's good. Secret identity, blah, blah, blah. Shit, she's skinny. 5'7", 119. Powers and abilities, density control. She has the ability to increase the mass of her body while preserving the volume, which effectively increases her density. Invulnerability. She can increase the density of her body to make herself immovable and completely invulnerable. Energy projection. She can create a massive shock waves just by stomping the ground. So the density piece is why she was able to break the sink.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to look up the sister because I think it's also a little bit tied to their personality as well, which makes sense. Like, as a person, Anissa is someone who is very sure and clearly very immovable once she has an idea in her head about like what is right or what is good. So that it makes sense that it would relate to her power. So her sister, Jennifer Pierce, is lightning. Her powers are using her ability to generate electrical field. So her powers are more like her dad. And it says that she also has the power to absorb electricity and to blast it, as well as the power of flight. So hers is more similar to her dad's.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think at some point something's going to happen with the girls, either getting in trouble with law enforcement or something, kind of like similar to this Trial of the Flash thing, where it's like we're gonna have to reveal our identities so that we have an excuse for whatever we've done. So that'll be interesting. The other thing I wanted to talk about very quickly is the Tobias stuff. So Jefferson says that the whole reason he became Black Lightning in the first place was to stop Tobias, who was responsible for his father's death. But did he actually stop Tobias? Because it seems like Tobias is still operating.
Yeah, no, he is. I really wanted that kid dead.
So I'm just wondering if Tobias was in jail for a time and it has since been released, or if he never stopped him because he just stopped being Black Lightning. So I just want to know I want more backstory, and I know obviously he's like one of the big villains, so we're gonna get more backstory, but that's interesting. And then also the fact that Latavius is one of Tobias's workers.
Yeah. So I think we'll get more of that as the season progresses.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting when Jefferson finds out about that and what that means. And he has very comic booky henchmen. I kind of like how you have the regular, just the police, the very real stuff, the police brutality, the gang violence, just like these kind of like street thugs. And then you still have the very comic booky characters that are going to be villains.
Yeah.
I like how they're mixing those two things. And they didn't show her, but they mentioned Lady Eve, who's going to be played by Jill Scott.
I was going to say from the back, I was like, Queen Latifah ain't on this, right? Because it looked like Queen Latifah.
You ain't right.
It did.
You ain't right.
What you mean?
You are not right.
So we get a picture of her. We get an image of her from the back, but we don't see her yet.
And I'm sure that probably wasn't her because I don't think that she was cast at this point.
Yeah.
So they probably just got another big bone lady. But I think from what I know of her character is similar to Alfre Woodard's character on Luke Cage.
Okay, cool.
Like this woman who has this outer image as respectable businesswoman, but is actually a criminal.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I can't remember what episode she's supposed to show up, maybe like 8 or something like that. So that'll be interesting once we start getting the guest stars. Oh, also...
it had a great opening, by the way.
Oh!
It had great premiere numbers. The numbers that
apparently
came out. It's
the biggest CW premiere. I think it passed like The Flash and Legends. So yeah, it's the biggest CW opening premiere. The other thing, so they had said a while ago that they were casting this character, Asian woman of color, who is Anissa's love interest in the comics. And then just recently, they announced that they cast another woman of color who is also a love interest. So we are getting multiple queer women of color characters on this show. I have never been more excited. I just feel like whenever you have lesbian characters on a show, it's always one. I think Pretty Little Lies is probably
Highlanders.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like one, and then the one girlfriend leaves, and then we can introduce a new girl. Like there can never be like multiple relationships happening at the same time. It never works that way. So I'm super excited, and they're all women of color.
Yeah.
It's such a big
deal. We're getting 13 episodes. I'm hoping it gets renewed. I'm excited.
Between that opening, I think if the numbers stay consistent to the next 2 weeks, I could see them announcing it getting a second season within the next couple of weeks. Yeah. The problem that the CW is having is that they actually need to get rid of shows. But the shows that they have are all doing pretty well. Because they just don't have enough nights, which is why we have the whole thing with Supergirl and Legends trading off. I think, but I also think, I don't know who is watching this show, Valor. I have not watched one episode.
Look, I'm like, can we put Black Lightning behind Supergirl? What are we doing?
I know. I did like. I'm just. I don't know. I think Dynasty is doing well. I think they renewed that, but I do not understand this show Valor. I have not heard. I've not seen one person talk about it. I have not heard one thing about it. So I'm just very confused as to why it is still taking up space on the network. I'm literally pulled up the CW page so I could go there. Supernatural needs to be canceled.
Nope, they're getting another season. But hey,
Supernatural needs to be.
Hey, are we ready for feedback? Because I am fading fast.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but I just. Okay. You got like CW needs to figure something out and cancel some of these shows because, yeah. Okay. Yes, feedback.
Simeon, hey. I enjoyed Supergirl this week. It was a nice, because I did a dual. Oh, by the way, I am so sorry, guys. It wasn't until I was done watching Black Lightning tonight that I was like, shit, I forgot to put a feedback post up. So I sincerely apologize. I will pre-schedule them for the next couple of weeks and I don't have to remember that way. Simeon says, I enjoyed Supergirl this week. It was a nice episode to come back to. Brainiac 5 kind of reminded me of Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg or Lex Luthor or just anybody else he plays. But he was still fun to watch for me. Now, as for Rain, I see she's blowing up meth labs and attacking cops. I don't see why people have an issue with her. I'm saying. I also don't see why Lena was so pressed to talk to Kara about wanting to smash James' swirly cakes to smithereens. I hate you so much right now.
I
Rod from the Black Guy Who Tips. Look at what you have wrought.
Swirly. I think, but I honestly don't think it was about that. I think he was acting weird. She assumed it was about telling Kara, but I think she also was trying to find an excuse because she wasn't sure. I think everybody was just making excuses, and really they just wanted to have that scene where Melissa pretended to be John.
Yeah. I'm there. I'm here. I'm here. I'm there. Okay. Did you talking about y'all used to date? Yeah, for like one episode.
I don't appreciate that comment.
All in all, from John presenting to be Kara and the old cult dude losing his faith and switching sides. It was a pretty good episode for me. Then I saw Black Lightning. Man, when I tell you they exceeded my expectations, we got an official apology from D Palm on Twitter, who was talking shit.
And Jax too. Jax had to apologize as well.
Yeah, but D Palm's is so much sweeter.
Direct your commentary to the doctor. I actually prefer any and all apologies. Anytime somebody tells me I'm right, I'm cool.
Man, when I tell you they exceeded my expectations, the sism in the show was great. The music was great. When Black Lightning hit that Hadouken in the clip. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I'm already invested in the characters by the first episode. They did a great job at establishing relationships and setting for the season. I was blown away. Hopefully this isn't just because my expectations were tempered and it's actually a good show. This is not Inhumans. This is not an Inhumans opening. This was a much stronger.
Why y'all bringing up old shit? Why are we doing this?
But even if it isn't, don't burst my bubble. Safe to say, I'm all in on this show already, and I don't even need it to connect to the other CW shows. Thank you. Kurt B. I like Black Lightning all over. I think the dialogue was excellent at some points and corny at others. Overall, a solid first episode. I think they nailed the casting of the family. They absolutely did. Yes. They all play pretty good off of each other. And they look like they're a family.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I think Anissa looks like the mom, more like the mom. And I think Jennifer looks more like the dad. So it feels like exactly how it is. Like I look more like my mom. My brother looks more like his dad. Like,
and that ex-wife though, heart face. She's a beautiful woman. Jermaine S. Hey, Jermaine. This is the best CW first episode. So I think all the comments from here are going to talk about Black Lightning, and that's fine. I love how he's a retired superhero who's trying to better his community by the books instead of being a vigilante. Me too. So he's seen both sides and he returns because he sees the system that he has tried so hard to conform to has failed. This universe seems more realistic than the other shows, agreed, where they may have people of color, but they only provide color to a whitewashed palette. Talk about it, Jermaine. Preach. Oh, sorry. The only other show that even touches on the negative effects of diversity was Legends. Yep. It will also, I need them to start jerking Legends around though. They can put Legends behind Supergirl and get rid of Valor. Anyway, I said it. It will also be exciting to see how he deals with his powers manifesting in his children. You know what else I'm wondering? How the mom's going to react to that.
Okay, my question, now that you mention it, was, it's not so much of the keeping the superheroing from the kids as a way to protect them, but more like, did you ever contemplate the fact that these powers might manifest in your kids, and therefore why haven't you had a conversation with them?
I think it depends on what she knows about how the powers came to be and what he knows about how the powers came to be.
No, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about him. Like, why, especially since you're not a superhero anymore. Like, just, did he ever contemplate it, and did he ever think about having a conversation with the girls?
Good question. We have 12 episodes left to figure.
And then also, I wonder if we're going to see when he first got his powers.
Yes. They have to give us that.
Yeah.
So, Joseph, hey, buddy, my Doctor Who retrospective partner. Just seeing this. Hopefully I make it in time. Real quick, I kind of like Supergirl, but I loved Black Lightning. I have more concise thoughts, but seeing that y'all are recording as I speak, I don't have the time to spit it all out. You know what? If you have thoughts, go ahead and leave them on the feedback post that I'm going to set up for next week, and we'll get back around to it. Moji from TV Movie Mistress. We just did The Crown season 2 on her network. Hey, baby. I loved Black Lightning. It was such a great season opener and got me all in my feels. The blend of realness and superhero-ness was amazing. I hope they can maintain the writing. 2 things that helped take the edge off was the Jadena Lex Luthor hybrid. He's albino, child. What are you talking about? I think he's albino. I hope that wasn't offensive, and I hope that. Sorry. He looks like he's going to be fun, and the girl's self-defense and soon to be apparent superpowers. That's it. Can't wait to listen. And then we got a post, but I think he's new to the group, and so, Ronald, I'm not going to read your link, but if you want to go into the group and see his link, because he wrote an article, I guess, 6 things he loved about the premiere. I forgot to note that this was a feedback post, but I would love for people to go ahead and take a look at his article. I haven't read it, but I know he posted it, so, just...
One thing that he posted that I did want to mention, we talked about the opening song of Strange Fruit. The music throughout was great. Even the cheesy Black Lightning theme song rap was awesome. The music that they picked, I don't know if folks saw Proud Mary this weekend. I did go see that as well. The music in that is great. We already are getting, all the Black Panther soundtrack stuff. When our people make something, and it is truly made by our people, we got to have some fire music in the background. And I appreciate us for that, because this episode alone had more songs. Occasionally on other CW shows, they'll feature a song that I want to download. They're going to have to put out a soundtrack to accompany this show. They have to.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that's it for the feedback.
Thank you guys for listening. I'm going to try not to, but I do love this show so much that I do want to go through it scene by scene. I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try.
I'll keep her in line, folks. I got it.
Okay. But it's so good. Like, I want to talk about every single moment. I don't think I've been so hyped for a show in a while. Oh my god, you guys, we're getting all the best stuff. Black Lightning, Black Panther, Wrinkle in Time, new season of Atlanta. Can't wait for Brandon to come back with those podcasts. You guys, Black History Year 2018. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus, Beyonce, whoever is giving us all these blessings. We will get the feedback post up next week. Feel free to tweet at us, leave comments in the MTR group. We are also getting our YouTube subscribers up. So please subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the MTR network. Chris is dropping insanity check-ins, kind of mini insanity check videos. And that's something new we're doing. Also, I just want to plug, if you are on the West Coast and you do not already have plans to see Black Panther, or you want to go see it again, which you should see it at least 3 times in theaters, and you want to see it with...
If you don't, you have failed the Black community.
Exactly.
You're the reason Trump's in office. You're the reason.
I mean, I didn't want to have to say it, but yeah. If you're looking for a Black-ass crew to watch Black Panther with, we have this event happening. It is in conjunction with a couple different organizers, but we will be showing Black Panther at a theater in Long Beach, the Cinemark at Pine. It is Friday, February 16th at 8 p.m. We did 2 tiers. We had a VIP level and a general admission level. The VIP tickets are sold out. We have lots of goodies and awesome, cool stuff planned for our VIPs, but we also have lots of cool stuff planned for people who are just coming to the screening. We're working on getting a photographer there. We want to have a costume contest, a trivia contest, some other giveaways. So definitely buy a ticket. The link for it is black-panther-lbc.brownpapertickets.com to get tickets. You can find all those links and stuff in the group as well. And we really, really want folks to come out because we're being really extra. So if you want to experience Black Panther with a Black-ass group of people being extra Black and extra, that this is the event for you and your friends. And I think we have not too many general admission tickets left, but a fair amount. But I'm surprised at how fast they're going. I know they didn't go as fast as the DC ones, but the DC ones were also priced lower. So, yeah, it's $20. Come out, have fun with us. It's going to be awesome. So please do that. And thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.